All right, y'all. So I'm going to go through some of these questions. I'm just going to do one of each section. And so if you have any questions after that, please let me know. But I'm going to kind of go fast. So section 1, you are looking at independent quantities. This was what we first worked out at the beginning of the year. So if you're kind of forgetting this, just look at your notes and pay attention to the definition of independent. So number 1 says, Selena is driving to visit her grandmother who lives 325 miles away from Selena's home. She travels on an average of 60 miles per hour. So if we're looking at independent variables, our independent quantity, something that is not impacted by anything whatsoever, would be our time, okay? The amount of time, so hour, it takes her to drive is not going to be impacted by anything, right? However long she drives is how long she drives, right? And so our independent variable would be time in hours. And then our dependent variable is going to be based off the distance that she drives. So the amount of time or the amount of distance that she drives in miles is completely dependent on that time, okay? If you have any questions on the others, let me know, and you also have people in your classroom to help me or help you. I'm going to drop down to the next section. This one, you're going to label the axes of each graph with the independent and dependent quantities and appropriate units of measure. And so when I say appropriate units of measure, you just want to make sure that you write down if it's hours, miles, whatever it is, okay? So in this one, it says, Madison enjoys bicycling for exercise. Each Saturday, she bikes a course she has mapped out around her town. She averages a speed of 12 miles per hour on her journey. And so this is actually very similar to that top question that we just did. So the x-axis should be, we're going to label this actually our time in hours. Okay, so that's going to be represented by our independent variable, right? The longer she goes, the more miles that she's going to increase by. And so our y-axis, our dependent, is actually going to end up being distance. I'm going to put that in parentheses for miles, okay? The more hours she drives, the more time, the more distance she is going to increase. And our distance is completely depending on how long she drives for or rides her bike for, right? If you have any questions on number 2, let me know. I'm going to jump down to 3 and 4 are very similar to that question as well. So is 5 and 6. I'm going to draw past those. I actually took off all of these questions, so you shouldn't have any of these. Okay, number 1. You are actually going to go through these. There's graph A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. I think there's more. K, L. All right, and what you're going to do is you're going to put the correct graphs based off of what it is. So let's just do A. Yes, A is in fact a function, so I'm going to put an A right here. It doesn't have a maximum, but it does have a minimum, right? It does in fact have that minimum. So because it says or, I'm going to go put A in here. It is increasing only. So I would only put A in all those categories there. If I went and did B, right, B would pass as a function. So we would have had to put B here. It doesn't have a maximum or minimum, right? Arrows are on both sides, so it's never ending on both sides, going left and right forever, never, never. Because it's never going to end, we actually won't have a maximum or minimum. And it is only decreasing. It's not increasing, so B would go there. So you're going to go through and do that with every single letter and place them where it needs to go. Please let me know if you have any questions on that one. I'm going to skip down. Next, determine which relations represent functions. If the relation is not a function, state why not. So we already did these, right, in tables. And then if we're looking at mapping, you can't have your x repeat. 2, you're looking at a linear or a vertical line test. 3, remember your y just can't have exponents and your x can't be underneath a square root sign to be function. Again, in tables, your x just can't repeat. 6, you're looking at a vertical line test, and so on and so forth. I've already showed you how to do 1 and 2 for B section. I might run out of time, so watch the next video. Let's go ahead and just stop it.